average Catholic Canadians, and try as they might, they couldn't adhere to Rock's wackier ideas.
They didn't catch the wave.
He's got to sell it better. He's got to sell it.
That's the truth. That's his fault. But of course, he blamed the audience.
Yeah.
It's a mistake.
Eventually, Rock just dropped out of everything. He stopped taking his painkillers for, his stomach problems, but he just replaced that with heavy drinking.
Oh.
Yeah, and he also started writing bad checks all over town while telling everyone how much money he had.
Well, the idea is that you fake it till you make it. And he knew that. And sometimes you got to write 5 bad checks. And you got to write maybe 10 bad checks.
Everyone works at the same asbestos mine. I'm sure they know exactly how much money he has because they have the same amount.
I mean, he had less money than them because they actually worked at the mine. He did nothing. He tried to sell capes, and it didn't work.
Well, Rock was, like most cult leaders, a complete and total failure at being a normal person. But it wouldn't be long before Rock found his niche as a leader of mostly women. His first disciple, as it were, was Giselle Tremblay.
I would say one of the, not unique to this cult, but just especially for this cult, the members of the Anthill Kids were of a specifically vulnerable group.
Yes.
Like, they are very vulnerable people that got pulled in. A lot of these people had histories of abuse. A lot of these people were that's where his cultivation, quote unquote, you use that word, him making this cult was very specific. Like, he knew what he was looking for almost instinctually.
A lot of cult leaders do look for vulnerable people because that is why a lot of people join cults, because something is missing in their lives and they think that this person can give them, what's missing. It's a shortcut.
I have never been approached to join a cult, and I guess it's just because I'm intimidating. And I feel really sad about that. Why can't I get a flyer? I want to know what peace and harmony feels like.
You don't wade in those waters. Have you ever been to a stretching class in the valley?
No.
Have you ever been to a vegan restaurant out in the middle of Tarzana? No, because if you go to these places and isolate yourself to a place where they serve only beans, you would really be surprised what you end up agreeing to.
All right.
Now, Giselle Tremblay grew up in a tumultuous household with a cold, authoritarian father and an angry, abusive mother. Her father would take her aside and talk shit on his marriage, telling Giselle that when she grew up, she'd do best to obey and follow her husband at any cost, unlike her mother.
So he basically pulled her aside and just did Bill Engvall bits at her. But I mean, his wife, at her, and then she absorbed all of that. And then Bill Engvall became her personality.
Oh, that is troubling.
Well, Giselle listened. According to her, she spent her entire childhood preparing herself to be the most devoted, loyal, and loving wife a man could have. Predictably, though, this blind devotion resulted in a string of awful relationships.
Yeah, if men were good, this is really nice. But
they're not, though.
No. So
her first serious relationship was with a boozer named Robert. And boozer, by the way, that's the term that the Canadian author of Savage Messiah uses again and again. Love saying boozer. Giselle tried matching.
It is so Canadian.
It is.
He's just a boozer. It's like raging alcoholic with massive psychological issues. He's a boozer.
Yeah, you make it sound like a name for a cartoon squirrel.
Yeah, it's like boozer, cool cartoon squirrel guy.
Giselle tried matching his drinking, but couldn't physically keep up and ended up in the hospital with burned intestines from ingesting too much liquor.
Wow, she was the Bo Jackson of alcoholism.
Was she hurt herself by doing it so
her
well?
Her mouth was too fast for her liver.
Yeah. That's a good sports reference.
Thank you. That is actually pretty good. Yeah.
Because he hurt himself. No one touched him.
You realize it's the only other one that I know. I know Bo Jackson, Bobby Bonilla, the best baseball player that's ever been, that ever
because
existed.
Of the contract that he got.
Of course, smartest baseball player ever be. Usain Bolt, he's fast.
Yeah, that's 3.
Wayne Gretzky.
That's 4.
One
Peyton
football
Manning.
player.
Peyton Manning.
Peyton Manning works. That checks out. Look
and Robin Williams, improv sports.
All right, we'll count it just because he's passed on.
Well, in 1972, Robert and Giselle moved to Montreal, where Robert got into bank robbing and counterfeit currency.
Oh.
Yeah.
So what's your husband up to now? Well, wouldn't you believe it? He's doing bank robbing, and he's kind of doing some counterfeit currency. Isn't that kind of fun?
Actually, that does sound. Lacey's into an industry. Want some gravy? We have gravy.
Herbert's working over at the new mill.
Yeah, he's making bullets.
Yeah.
It's right next to the asbestos factory.
Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah, and then there's the blood factory that just turns animals into blood.
Yes. So the counterfeit game's going pretty good for him.
Well, Giselle eventually had enough with Robert and left him, and Robert was later gunned down in the mean streets of Montreal.
Damn.
Jeez.
Soon, Giselle and her sister got an apartment together, and Giselle started dating a nice man named Dave.
They're always named Dave.
Yeah. But one night, Giselle and her sister happened to be drinking in the ballroom at the local Holiday Inn. And who should be there selling homemade beer mugs but Rock Terrio?
Oh, my God. It all comes together.
The power and the illustrious world of merch.
Wow.
Now, Giselle and Dave had been discussing marriage when Giselle met Rock, but Rock quickly pushed his way into her life despite still being married himself. He wrote her sappy love letters and whined that she was hurting him by sleeping with another man. One night, she finally let him stay over for the evening.